this week, our assignment is to use another database, and in this case, it's the ProQuest newspaper historical database to look for information, do research and so forth for your projects. So I went to the Liberty website, logged in the ProQuest database for the historical newspapers, and the initial research database that they use, covers 4 newspapers, and they're like 4 of the larger newspapers in the country. So I began my searching, and based on the person I'm writing about, who is Brigadier General J. Kemp McLaughlin from West Virginia. And I didn't find anything in the database that they had there using some of the search terms that I put in. What I did is began to expand my search to newspapers that would be within the state of West Virginia, some of the cities he was in, some of the cities where the Air National Guard units are located. And I began to pull up some information about him. Some of this information I already knew. He has written a book in the past about his exploits, basically in World War II, and he touched on the Korean War as well. But it's a very nice book I bought through Amazon that he has written, and it's a memoir that he put together. So some of this information is in that book naturally, but it was good to see how newspapers wrote about him as well, kind of some of the information that they put there. So the first one I found, actually most of these came out of the Charleston Daily Mail, and each one kind of builds on the other. The first one I looked at was written in 1999, and it basically gave some information about him, what he's doing or what he did after he retired from the Air National Guard in 1977. The second article was one written in 2007, and this kind of goes back, gives some more information about him. He was a rather tall man, 6 foot 3 inches. So he had kind of a fun time climbing in and out of the B-17 cockpit. I've had the fortune of climbing all through a B-17, and those do look like big planes, but it's amazing how small they feel once you get in and start trying to move around in them. But the second article, written in 2007, it was titled The Way It Was, Men of the 8th, 1943 by Richard Andre. And he just kind of gives some more personal background about, then it was Lieutenant McLaughlin, and, when he pinned his wings on, and kind of some of the information leading up to him going over to Europe. The third article that I found was titled The Way It Was. And again, it was, now this was the Sunday Gazette Mail out of Charleston, West Virginia, which is his hometown. And it just gave some more information about him. This one was talking about his October 1943 Schweinfurt raid. He led the group on that particular mission. Some of these articles had pictures, but they would not come through when I did the search. I expect that in the book that I have, probably many of these pictures, photographs are there. Now, one interesting thing I came across, and this will be for future reference as well, I came across an article in, let's see what newspaper it was. It was the Washington Post, written in 1972. It was referencing, actually it was a letters to the editor, so it was like an opinion piece that a reader wrote. And in it, he referenced a study or a survey that is available for people to read. And his letter was in reference to the Vietnam bombing and kind of how that was impacted by what had happened in World War II. And the great thing with this article is that it gave me another source of information that I can go to, and it's the United States Strategic Bombing Survey, European War, and it's also the Pacific War is included in that as well. So I was able to download a copy of that, which will be great information as far as building some background about what General McLaughlin was involved in during World War II.